What does it say about the kind of war we are now watching when a country without a blue water navy manages to reach beneath the sea and strike one of the most guarded symbols of Russian military power? Because that is essentially the question raised by recent verified reports that Ukraine has successfully used an underwater drone to damage a Russian submarine, an event that on the surface might sound like just another tactical incident, but when you slow down and look at it carefully, actually signals something much larger about how this war is evolving and why traditional assumptions no longer hold. What appears to have happened is that Ukraine deployed an unmanned underwater vehicle, a naval drone designed to evade detection, to target a Russian submarine operating in or near contested waters, reportedly causing damage significant enough to force Russia to acknowledge the incident indirectly through operational adjustments and heightened naval security, even if Moscow has tried to minimize its significance, which is itself telling because submarines are not just ships. They are strategic assets. They are expensive, scarce, and central to Russia's ability to project power, deter NATO, and signal strength both regionally and globally. For Ukraine, a country whose navy was largely neutralized early in the war, this kind of strike represents a deliberate shift toward asymmetric warfare, a strategy born not out of choice but necessity, relying on innovation, low-cost technology, and precision rather than mass. And it fits a clear pattern we've seen over the past year as Ukrainian forces have repeatedly demonstrated an ability to adapt faster than Russia can defend, whether through aerial drones, long-range strikes, or now underwater systems that complicate Moscow's planning in ways that simply did not exist before this war began. Historically, naval warfare has been the domain of great powers with massive budgets and decades of industrial buildup. But this incident echoes earlier moments in military history when new technology suddenly flattened the playing field, when torpedoes challenged battleships, when aircraft carriers replaced gun decks, and when missiles made fortifications obsolete. And what Ukraine is showing here is that even beneath the sea, the cost curve of warfare is shifting in ways that favor agility over sheer size. The United States and NATO, watching closely but speaking carefully, understand the implications, because while Ukraine's success validates years of Western investment in innovation and decentralized defense, it also raises escalation questions about how far this technological cat-and-mouse game can go without triggering broader confrontation, especially when Russian submarines are tied not only to conventional operations, but to nuclear deterrence doctrine. Even if this particular incident appears confined to conventional assets, Europe, especially countries bordering the Black Sea and the Baltic, sees both reassurance and warning in this moment. Reassurance that Russia is not invulnerable, and warning that maritime security, undersea cables, ports, and energy infrastructure are now even more exposed in a conflict that increasingly ignores traditional front lines. China, meanwhile, is likely studying this quietly, less concerned with the immediate politics of Ukraine and more interested in the demonstration of how relatively inexpensive autonomous systems can challenge high-value naval platforms, a lesson that resonates far beyond this war. For Russia, the strike is destabilizing not because it changes the battlefield overnight, but because it forces Moscow to divert resources, rethink naval deployments, and confront the reality that its technological edge is eroding under pressure. While for Ukraine it is emboldening, reinforcing the idea that creativity can compensate for imbalance. The risk, of course, is miscalculation, that an incident at sea could spiral, that a damaged submarine could be misread as something more ominous. But the best-case outcome is a continued pattern where deterrence is reshaped not by escalation but by adaptation, making certain forms of aggression costlier without crossing existential red lines. In the long run, the sober prediction is that this war will continue to accelerate trends already underway toward unmanned systems, dispersed power, and contested domains where dominance is temporary and vulnerability is universal. And the unsettling question this leaves us with is whether global military planners are truly prepared for a world where even the deepest waters offer no guaranteed sanctuary. And if you find value in taking the time to understand these shifts calmly and clearly, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more fact-based global analysis.